Okay, welcome to a quick little review of plotting points and graphing lines. We're going to use the note sheet that you have in front of you and just go through it to get ready. This is something we're going to be doing with Delta Math throughout the semester, just to make sure that we stay on top of like super important things like plotting points and graphing lines. All right, so whenever we see these parentheses, this is guiding us to where the point should be. So we always start from the origin, which is right here, the 0, 0. This number right here tells us where to go on the x-axis, so this tells us to go to the left, in this case to the left 5, or if it was positive, to the right, and this tells us whether to go up and down. So to graph this, we go to -5 on the x-axis, and then we go up 3. Now, I know that seems super, super basic, but what gets confusing is once we start finding the slope of a line, which is kind of the opposite of what we do. So we want to get super, super good in just doing the, just plotting points. All right, so let's go to 2. We can see that they tell us first to go down 2, right, from the origin. We're going to, I'm sorry, not down 2. The first one is our x, what we do on the x-axis. So we find -2 on the x-axis. And then it tells us what to do, whether to go up or down. And in this case, it's telling us stay. Don't go up or down. So we're just going to go right here. This is the point, -2, 0. Once again, I realize that you know how to do this. We're just double checking that you know. Okay, 1, 6 means go over 1 on the x-axis and then up 6. So we're going to go all the way up 6. So that's the point, 1, 6. Let's see if I can do this and still hold on. I can't. All right, and then this says graph the following features. We're going to have the y-intercept of -2 and the slope of -3/5. So the y-intercept, of course, we're going to look at the y-axis and we're going to find -2 and we're going to put a dot here. This means that we've got a line whose slashes right through the y-axis at -2. Now our slope, once again, our top number is our rise and our bottom number is our run. So when we see also the negative, this tells us when we see a negative slope, we usually like to put the negative, instead of writing it, we could write it like we see it. Oops. We could write it like we see it, or we could write the negative with the top. It just makes it easier when we have a negative to make that be part of our rise. So from this point, so we're going from this point that we just graphed, we're going to go down 3. So instead of rising, right, the negative tells us to fall down 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to run to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our slope here is like giving us directions for how to find the next point. And we could keep doing that, right? We could continue to, from this new point, we could go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives us another point on the line. And when we connect these 3 points, right? See if I can do it and hit all 3 points. We get the line that has the y-intercept of -2 and the slope of -3/5. There is only one line that has both those things, and we're looking at it. All right, let's keep going. There's nothing. Oh, yep. All right, there's nothing. Oh, yes, there is. Okay. Am I going? I can't even tell if I'm doing in the right order. 1, 2, 3. Let's keep going up here then and find 4. All right. So here's 4. State the coordinates of the point. Oh, you know what? I feel like I just did. That's okay. That's the problem with 1, 2, 3. I went ahead and jumped. Couldn't see it, but I jumped to the back page, didn't I? Whoops. All right, let's go back to the front of the page, and it says state the coordinates of the point. All right, so I see a point here, and on Delta Math, you're going to see them. They're going to give you a point, and you're going to have to state where it's at. All right, how do we do this? Well, we've got 2 spots to fill. We've got our X place to fill and our Y place to fill. All right, how do we get here? Well, we started at the origin right here, and we traveled all the way to -5. We stopped at -5, so that to get to that point, we went -5, and then when we went up all the way to 4, so this is the point -5, 4. And so as we can see, because I did the back sheet, and sorry about that, that was probably confusing. the back of the sheet first. Like when we find a point, we're really doing the run first, right? And then the rise. So that's why it can get confusing, and that's why I am going over something that's so basic. All right, state the coordinate. All right, we got a point way over here. How do we get there? Well, there are two numbers. We first have to look at, this is always going to be our x. What do we do as far as the x-axis? Well, we traveled over 9. And then what do we do? Up or down? So we went down -1, and that's always going to be our y, but it's weird because I get it. We're not on the y-axis. So really y is just our up or down number. All right, so this point to get here, we went over 9 and down 1, so our coordinate point is 9, -1. Okay, let's see where this one is. All right, this one's way over here. So we're going over -9 and down -2. All right, I'm surprised I didn't have one where a point was on the x or the y axis. So let's go ahead and let's just make one up on this. All right, so state the coordinates of the point. I'm going to pick up a different color. Let's pick up red. Let's say we had a point right here. All right. And so we would state, well, we went over 6 on the x-axis to get there. And then did we go up or down? We didn't. So that'd be 0. What if we had a point here? We would note going from the origin, it's like, oh no, we can't go anywhere. So we didn't go anywhere. That's our first point, or our first part of the coordinate point. And then we went up 5. All right, now we can go to the back of the, oh, I got a squished bug on this. Looks like it. Ooh, I don't know what that is on my smart notebook. All right, so let's go ahead, or my smartboard. Let's go ahead and go to the back of the page. I'm not sure where we're at. Let's see. So we did, that looks like 7. Let's go ahead and do 8. Whether front or back, I'm not sure. All right, here is a line that's in slope-intercept form. Remember that form, y equals mx plus b, where the m in front of the x, that's my slope, right? That's how much rise I have over my run. And then b is my y-intercept. And for obvious reasons, they couldn't use y for y-intercept because y was already taken right here. All right, so when we look at this, and let's switch over to green. When we look at this, we notice that our y-intercept is -3. We're always going to start with graphing our y-intercept. So we go to the y-axis, we go down to -3, we put our dot there, and then this -1/5, just like in the problem that I skipped ahead and did. I don't like where the negative's just right in front of the fraction. I'm going to put the negative up on top. That is the same thing as when you put it here. And it's actually the same thing as where you put it down here. As long as you just see one negative, it's the same thing. But we're going to use this form. It really helps us. Rise can be, even though it says rise, it can also be fall. All right, we can run either way. We can run to the left or the right. So we can rise either way. We can rise up or we can rise down. That's a positive way of saying I'm falling, I'm rising down. All right, so once again, the slope is just giving us directions for how to get to the next point. We already know one point on this line is our y-intercept at -3. To find the next point, we're going to go down 1, and then we go over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we wanted to do it again, we could, right? We could go down 1, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in delta math, you only have to do it once, and you're good. I'm just doing it twice so you can really see, oh, that's what we're doing, right? Slope gives us where the next point is. And then we draw our line, do the points. Hopefully you hit all the points. Did a little bit better job than I did. All right, so let's keep going. All right, what problem was that? That was 8. Is this 9 right here? Nope, that's 11. So let's go up here and let's find 9. All right, so once again, we're doing the same thing, right? Our y-intercept is 2, and we are going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, over 1. I could keep doing it again. 1, 2, 3, over 1. 1, 2, 3, over 1. You don't have to. You only have to do it one time. Let's see if I can even do a line that goes through all these. All right, so as we can see, whoops, missed a few. As we can see, same thing over and over again. Graph the y-intercept, then use the slope to find the next thing. All right, let's do 10 one more time. We've got the y-intercept of 1, and our slope is up 2 over 3. So up 2 over 3. There we go. And we're good to go. All right. And once again, if our run is positive, we run to the right. If it's negative, we run to the left. We don't usually see a negative run unless we're going backwards. All right, so here's our next one. Here's 11. Find the equation of the line in fully simplified slope-intercept form. All right, so I copied this from Delta Math, and as we can see, they gave us some points, which was very nice. Thank you, Delta Math. And so we know we've got this form, y equals mx plus b. And that is our slope. That's our y-intercept. So let's look. I see our y-intercept right here. That's -4. So for this part, we're going to write -4. And then what's our slope? Well, let's see. We're going to go, to get to this point, we're going to go down 1. So that's going to be -1. And then we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. Another way to do it is just to say, I could have started from this point. I could have said, well, wait a minute, Miss Overby. I'm going up 1, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could just say, yeah, up 1 over 4. And if you forget your negative at the very end, because we're not done yet, at the very end, I would do a simple thing like just write your name on the line. If I start writing my name in the line, I'm going downhill. So I know I would need a negative in front of my slope. All right, let's put this together. We found our y stays the same, our equal stays the same. We found our slope. Our x stays the same. We got to write that. And then instead of a plus, right, our slope is, our y-intercept is negative. So we have -4. Could we write plus a -4? Sure, we could. But we don't want to do that. We want to keep it simple. All right, so that was 11. See if we can find 12, and then we'll go back up to 13. Okay, graph the line y equals 6 on the axis shown below. All right, this is different, right? Because we're normally looking at y. You know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we go back? Whoops. Where were we? Okay, this is 12. Is that the end? What number is this? It's 13. Okay, we're good. All right, so sorry, am I making you dizzy? I'm making myself dizzy. So normally we have y equals mx plus b, and we're like, Miss Overby, there's no x there, right? And one way to look at it is it's because the slope is 0, right? If my slope is 0, this is going to go away, and I'm just going to end up with y equals b. All right, so that's what we have here. Another way to think about it is that if I just have a y equals 6, I know it's going to be, oh, this isn't going to go away, is it? I know this is going to be a horizontal line. And the reason why I know it's going to be that is that if I walked into your room, well, okay, I'm not going to walk into your room. So if your parent or guardian walked into your room and saw the mess on the floor, you know what they would say? They would say, why? Okay. Now they might, once again, maybe your parent or guardian is not as expressive as me, but I'd have my arms wide out if that was my kid and their room's just a mess. I'd be like, why is your room such a mess? And you'd say, because I'm a teenager, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. So y equals 6, when I see y equals, it reminds me, just go to the y-axis, find this number, find 6, and do the why is your room such a mess thing. If we wanted to, right? We could make it be a person saying that. All right. So just why, this part is the line, not the other part. All right, so we see y equals, it's just going to be a horizontal line. And then I think we have one more, right? Let's see, let's go back up here. And it says write the equation of the line. Now we see a vertical line, right? Straight up and down. So horizontal lines are y, vertical lines are x. And all we have to do is go to the x-axis and look at where it's going through. It's going through right at 1. So this line's name is x equals 1. Another way to think about that is, look, every single point on this, if we wrote the points, that point is 1, 4. That point is 1, 5. That point is 1, 7. They all have x equals 1. Obviously, same thing on the horizontal with the y equals. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too long and too bad. Thank you for joining me, and go do the Delta Math practice.